There aren't many games where you can play as a park ranger, let alone games that you have this kind of narrative structure, but along comes Firewatch out of nowhere, and proves to me that you can have a stylish Unity game but without, much game. Then again, this is coming from some of the main developers of the first couple of Walking Dead games, and decided to make their own studio to tell their own stories. And in some aspects, they did accomplish that, although I would have rather see it as a movie rather than a game. But honestly, if I were to tell too much of a story, I would be afraid of spoiling some of your enjoyment, so instead I'll leave you with this. You basically have marital problems and decide to become a volunteer fire lookout for the summer to get away from it all. The only person you ever talk to is another girl volunteer named Delilah through a walkie-talkie that you carry around constantly. All I can say is that the character development in this game is really good, but sometimes it feels Hollywood at first, where you can tell it's an act as you progress, but you can tell the voice actors really got into their roles and made the story much more memorable. And if you wanted to, you can change some of the outcomes through the dialogue that you'll be presented throughout the game. But if you want my thoughts on the story, I'm gonna go into spoilers here, so if you don't want this 3 to 4 hour experience to be ruined, then just click the link right here. Anyways, when I said that they really get into their roles, they really do feel appropriate. The acting is really good. Once you figure out about how someone is stalking you by tapping your radios, it gets really creepy and turns into a neat mystery. But after uncovering some things in a certain cave and seeing the fires getting more out of control, you kind of expected more from this so-called twist. Honestly, with this build-up though, I wish they could have done something more with it. You would think that with this kind of presentation and this build-up between these two people that they were gonna actually do something more with it, but in the end it's kind of left up in the air, quite literally. It would have been a better conclusion if they met each other in real life than if it was just the father the whole time, but I guess they wanted to leave it for the player to decide. Just my 2 cents, but I really like melodrama in my stories, but I digress. Gameplay-wise, other than talking to Delilah, you would have think that there was something akin to Myst or the other game I'll be reviewing today, but basically you walk around and find locations on your map to get to the next story point. If you ever played a first-person PC game in your life, it's basically the same controls, but the one thing I had to get used to was Shift being used to contact Delilah and R to run around. After getting used to that, the other thing I had to get used to was the game's map system. It's kind of neat to actually have a map in front of you looking around and not having waypoint markers to show you the way. Annoying sometimes, but it works. It adds to the aesthetic. You can also collect things like notes and gear to take with you, even though sometimes it's contextual and only works in some aspects of the game. So in a sense, it just makes you feel like some regular guy. You see your feet, you have things to hold on, and that shit gets cumbersome. Exactly what this game set out to do. Although not that gamey in a traditional sense, if you need to take a break and just want to hear a story that you wish was on TV or a movie, then this game will suffice. It has a great atmosphere, smooth and gorgeous looking cel-shaded graphics, and an okay story. The game will only fit with a certain type of person who, rather than playing Street Fighter, and would like to take a stroll in the woods for a while. It's $20 on Steam, but for the amount of content you'll be getting, it's 50-50 depending on what people would want out of this game. But in my honest opinion, you could probably wait for a Steam sale, or just wait for it in general. The Witness is John Blow's second game. It was also released around the same time as Firewatch. The difference is that this one took around 7 to 8 years to make, and I probably spent the most time on it due to all the unique, interesting puzzle solving over the story-driven experience, while also infuriating at the same time. Guess that's what preferences do. The only narrative that you can possibly find in this game is that you're just a nameless person on this beautiful island varied in fauna, locations, and different colored trees. The whole game is basically solving light panels and that's it. No, I'm not joking. The goal of the game is that there are different light panels on the island until you get a giant laser that pops up from the ground and shoots its laser to a monument on top of a mountain in the sky. Okay, but it's not that cut and dry. The most I enjoyed out of this game is that kind of joy that you feel when you solve a puzzle like I did in last year's Talos Principle. puzzles that make you feel like a genius. Sure, they are light panels, but unlike the Talos principle, you have to think outside the box even more than usual. The concept is that you have to draw a line from one point to the other, and as you progress through the various areas of the island, you're introduced to more mechanics that change your previous conceptions of solutions and turn them upside down. For example, one of the first places you'll encounter is tracing a line that also mirrors itself, while another area has you using the environment to find the solution, which there are plenty considering what gameplay you have to work with. Like Myst or, once again, the Talos principle, this game gives you a great workout on trying to find out-of-the-box solutions to simply drawing a line from one side to the other. Although like all other puzzle games, you're probably going to need a walkthrough or walk away and come back when your mind is fresher. The nature of these puzzle games in a nutshell. The Witness is what I call the perfect background game. It's not obtrusive, there's not really a narrative set up to make it seem apparent that you have to force yourself to pay attention, and the puzzle solving just feels good. But just like Braid and of course Firewatch, it takes a certain type of gamer to like these kinds of games. This is strictly a puzzle game, and some of them do get incredibly difficult, warding off those to not finish it. If you need a puzzle fix though right now, just consider the $40 you have to fork over to witness the Witness? But otherwise, if you're new to the puzzle genre, this might be a bit grueling, and I suggest picking up the Talos principle or Braid if you're willing to start somewhere. Hey guys, thank you for watching this review. I'm going to be posting a lot more reviews on this channel for a bit, but just letting you know, I'm working over at the Nerd Collective, and if you excuse me, I'll just be coming up with badder puns and worse memes.